Welcome back to my channel. This is Stoney. Now, spring came a few days ago. Today, it definitely does not feel like it's spring. It's raining. We're in about the mid 40s. It's cold. I'm wet. But today, we're going to do some prospecting on an ancient creek bed. Now, I'm on my property still, and I've been eyeing this for years. And let me show you the evidence of why I think I'm on an ancient creek bed. Then we're going to do some digging and see if we can't find just even a speck of gold. If we find a speck of gold, then I know that I'm onto something. And I got to investigate a little bit further. So let's get right into it and have a good time. I'm up on top of my bank, and the evidence that I have for why there could have been an ancient creek bed right here where I'm standing is because of the hillside right next to my house. My house is up here, and there's evidence right here of the land sloughing off and going into the creek. Now, I've been here for 6 years. It hasn't moved in 6 years, but that doesn't mean that a few hundred years ago or 1,000 years ago, that hillside could have been over the creek currently, forcing the water to flow over here. And I've seen some pretty good floods come down through here, putting massive log jams, and it does change the direction of the creek. As currently, the creek is running on this side, but it used to run over here the same as over here, but one flood made it not run on this side like it used to. So that's just one season. Who knows what could happen over a few hundred years. Now over here on the bank, this is all flat. And then it goes back up on another ravine right here, or another hillside. So the water is definitely focused in this ravine, and it follows down this way. That's all hillside. Hillside over here, and then this is all flat here. So there's no reason why water could not have flown here back in the day. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just pick a random spot. I'm hoping to pick more of an inside bend spot. So I'm gonna try and go like over here somewhere. I'm just trying to follow the contour of the hillside. And we're gonna dig down till we get some gravels, till we get some stones, whatever, as long as it looks the same as the material I'm working over here in the creek. That will tell me if I'm definitely on an ancient creek bed. Then we'll grab some pans from it and see if we got any gold. I'm looking for a couple specks. A couple specks will give me a good indication that this creek used to run through here, and this creek does have gold, so if there's gold over here, then there's gold over here. And this is all untouched. No one's been here, no one's dug here. So any gold that's here, I'll definitely be the first one to mine it and extract it from the ground. So wish me luck. Any part really around here is as good as the next part. So I'm just gonna, maybe throw the pan down and start digging and see where we get. It's been about 15 minutes digging about a 1.5 foot deep hole right here. Now, this is kind of interesting. I'm not a geologist, so I'm not really sure what's going on here, but I figured I have to go a lot lower than what I've already went to actually find like gravel material. Now, just below the very top surface here, I found a whole bunch of big potato-sized rocks, definitely water or weather worn right through here. And the first 6 inches, 8 inches or so, it's all root systems from the trees, and then I got some black topsoil. But then right below that, there was a gravel layer, as you can see right there. And then as I went further down, now there's a clay layer right there. But what's cool about this is that the clay layer is on an angle going down. And as you can see, it separates right there in the middle. That's all gravels. It keeps going down as gravel. So this is, I don't know what this is, okay? It's just clay, and it goes down on an angle. So it keeps working its way back down on this hole right here. Also outside here, you can kind of tell the material has this gravelly, look to it. It looks almost like the same material I dig out of the creek. And then over here, this is like the upper stuff. See, that's topsoil right there. So I'm gonna grab a pan full of material just from where the top of the clay is, where the gravels are, and pan that down and see if there's anything. Now this could be just a false layer of clay, and then there's more gravels underneath it. So I'll keep digging down, see what we get, but let's run that pan real quick and see what we find. Oh, Also, real quick, on this creek, if you find this green rock, there's tons. I pulled tons of this green rock out of the creek here, or out of this hole right here. And wherever I find this green rock, there's gold associated with it. I don't know why, but this green rock, I'm not sure what it is. People have said it's jade before. I don't believe it's jade. Or I don't know. I'm not a rock guy, so I don't know what this is. But it's all in this hole right here, which is, to me, a really good sign. Here's the pan, classifying it down 1/8 inch. This is some clay up here. I wanted to make sure and scrape some of the clay off, so I added some clay in there. And then the rest of it looks like gravels from the rest of the creek, so let's pan this down and see how it performs. I can already see a bunch of heavy black sands in there. This soil, or this material, looks exactly like what I normally find on the creek, so I'm pretty happy with what I have right here. Like I said, just only one pan from the bottom of the hole right now. Might not find anything, but we'll pan it down. And hopefully the gods give us some gold. Okay, it's all cleaned up. A lot of black sand showing up, and I see about 3 micro pieces of gold right about there. If you can see that, super fine, some of the finest I've seen on this creek. But we're on gold, so I don't know where it's coming from. I don't even know if that's part of the creek, if there was a creek there, but we're gonna continue digging and see what else we can find. Okay, so I dug a second hole. First hole's right there with the clay layer about 1 foot down. Now the second hole, I went down about 2.5 feet, and I tell you what, there's only 8 inches of that overburden, the topsoil. Then it's all creek. I mean, look at that. That's all just cobbles and gravels. And then at the 2.5 foot mark, right down there, I just stuck a shovel full, and I got clay. So I'm not sure how long it takes clay to form. I'll have to look it up. But you can see the gravel's on top right here, and then the clay layer goes down. And it's really simple. I mean, before I couldn't do this with my shovel, but as soon as I step on it, it sinks right down like the shovel's gone. And then I lift up like this. I'm trying to do this one-handed here. Look at that. Clay is just stuck to the bottom. So, like I said, I'm not a geologist. I'm not sure what's going on. But if the creek did run through here, it's not very shallow. Or, I'm sorry, it's not very deep. It's just 8 inches below the surface for about 2 feet down. So I have a pan of the stuff just on top of the clay layer at the bottom. Let's run this through and see what kind of gold we find. All right, I just classified it down. The tailings are right here. The bigger stuff, bigger than an 1/8 inch. Here's the material right here. It looks exactly like the same stuff I find in the creek. I mean, it's the exact same stuff. So I'm 98% sure that the creek used to run in that spot. If it didn't, I don't know where it's from, what it is, but that definitely looks like the exact same material. It's not muddy, it's not soil, it's pay gravel, or it's gravel from a creek bed. So let me wash this back and see if we find any gold in this pan. All right, no gold on this pan. Kind of surprising, but you know, gold's where you find it, and it's not in that spot. But I'm gonna take that shovel full of clay, break that down real quick, and see if there's any gold stuck in that clay. All right, just went and grabbed some of that clay. Look at this stuff. Super clay. And there's a couple pieces in here where it's like, it's all just clay, but a lot of this is clay and gravel stuck to it. Now, one thing unique about this creek is that this creek doesn't have like a hard rock bedrock. It has a clay layer as its bedrock. So this might be the bottom of the creek where it used to flow right there. So let's chunk this up. It's going to take me a little bit. Let's chunk it up. And there might be a lot of gold in here, or none, but we'll check it. Check out all of the material that was in that clay. Look at this. There's so much material in here. It's full to the brim of lights and heavies. So I'm excited to, it's like a soup. I'm excited to pan this down. It's going to take me a little bit of time, but there might be some gold in there for sure. All right. Well, no gold, but a lot of black sand. So, I'm not exactly sure what to do next. All right, so here's my plan. There was no gold on the clay layer or in the clay. Maybe I just panned it wrong, but that stuff was some pretty thick stuff to pan, but I'm pretty sure there was no gold in there. I did get 3 pieces out of the first hole, right on top of the clay layer. That was about a foot down. So, got my pan down below. I'm gonna grab my scoop and scoop this stuff up right here in the gravels and see if I can get a pan full of this material, and we'll run that in the water and see how we do. Because the gold, I've only ever really found gold in the gravel portions of this creek. So maybe in this portion too, that's where the gold is as well. So let me fill this pan up right here and we'll run this through, see if we have any luck with this stuff. All right, got my pan. Let's go walk over to the creek and run this through. Here's the 4th pan, I believe. And like I said, it's mostly gravels and sand in there. Typical of what I find. Let's run this down. All right, one small speck right there where my fingertip is. So it is in the gravels. It's not in the clay. Well, it could be in the clay, but it wasn't the shovelful that I did. So that's the second hole. The second hole is not producing much gold. So I'm going to go to the first hole that we dug, that we got the 3 pieces out of, and take just a little bit of material out of that hole, run that in a pan. 5th pan from the first hole, and what I did is I just scraped the top layer of the clay, worked it down. So this is all the material that was just on top of the clay, from about a foot down to about 18 to 20 inches. So remember, the first hole we got 3 pieces. Let's try it. A lot of black sands, but no gold in that 5th pan. So now, let's see. All right, honestly, I've spent long enough on this hole, these 2 holes. I think I'm done for the day. It's kind of cold out. My hands are starting to cramp up a little bit, so we're gonna complete the journey today, but I'm not done yet. Now, I'm fairly confident, like I said before, we did find an ancient creek bed in this area, and it's not as low in the ground as I thought it was going to be. It's pretty shallow below the surface. Now, I don't know what it could be. Like I said, I'm not a geologist. Someone else can answer that for me, but from what I see right below the surface, about 8 inches down to about 2.5 feet deep, it's all gravels, just like what I find in the creek. So I got lucky on the first pan. I found 3 little specks, and I think my 3rd pan I found 1 flake. Maybe the 4th pan I found 1 flake. But like I said, I just chose a random spot on this bench, you know, where I think the ancient creek bed used to be. So there could be a pocket somewhere else. There could be a pocket a foot away. There could be a pocket 8 feet away. I don't know. So like I said, I'm not completely done yet. I want to come back out here, dig some more holes, do some more tests. If I can maybe find like 10 to 15 per pan, that's not a bad place to start maybe excavating a bit more and maybe try and follow that clay layer down. So I think it was a success today. My original goal was just to come out here and see if the creek bed actually did flow through here. It did. And that just makes me want to come back out here again and do some more work. So thanks for coming by. Sorry it wasn't a stellar video with a big cleanup, but that's part of prospecting, and that's part of just me going out and trying a new area, trying new things. I'd never done this type of prospecting before. I just usually stuck to the creek. So this is all kind of new to me. I know other guys do this and go out there anywhere and just randomly choose a spot and start digging. I kind of did that, but with knowledge of knowing what happens to this creek and where it could have possibly been before. So I really do appreciate you watching, coming by. Make sure you leave a thumbs up if you did like the content. Leave me a comment. I'm sure I have questions to be answered that I asked, and you guys probably have maybe an idea of what I should do next for my continuation. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. It really does help my channel out a whole bunch. Until next time, keep getting that gold. Good luck out there, and I'll see you on the next one.